Hello and thanks for joining me. I'm off on my little KTM. I'm off on what I call one of my micro adventures. I'm with my friend Brian and a few other mates, and if you watch the previous videos for Sweden, Peter's going to be joining us tomorrow. But anyway, we're off wild camping for a couple of days. 3 days riding, 2 nights wild camping. And you know, not every trip that you go on has to necessarily be a sort of globe-busting huge trip. I'm a big believer in these little trips away, which I call micro adventures, and you can have a lot of fun, pack a lot of fun into just a few days. But as I said, it's pretty wet actually. Today is very slippy. It might not look like it on the video, I don't know what it'll come out like, but it's very slippy, very wet. Anyway, yeah, as I said, we are going to be wild camping. So something that I want to talk about is camping as part of adventure riding. If you have never camped, or you've tried it in the past and you've not enjoyed it, then what I'm going to try and do today is convince you to give it a go, or to give it another go, because I believe that if you are an adventure rider and you don't try camping, then you are missing out on a big important element of that adventure. Now, I can already hear all the protests, people coming in, so I will try and address those as we go along. So please bear with me, and I'll try in this video as I'm riding along, if I can, you know, discuss the various points to convince you to give camping a go. And if by the end of this video you are not convinced, then nothing lost. Really, it doesn't matter. It's not that important. If you say no, I definitely don't want to camp, then you know, I've lost nothing. I'm still enjoying my camping, and of course there is absolutely nothing wrong with staying in hotels. If you prefer to stay in hotels, nothing wrong with that at all. I just feel that you are, as I'm going to try and argue, you are missing out on a very big part of what makes adventure riding an adventure. Anyway, let's get on with the adventure. As you can probably see, we're all riding with our luggage on, our camping gear, all apart from Tosh, who's on the little Suzuki. He's just joining us for this morning. He's just having a little ride out with us this morning, and then he's going home. But the rest of us have got all our gear on the bikes for camping for a few days. So there's myself on my KTM, there's Brian on his CCM, Brian's son Josh, who also rides the CCM, same model, the 450 CCM. And then we've got Derek on his Husqvarna 701. And when we get to where we're camping, we are going to be joined by some other friends who will be riding out with us, doing a day ride with us tomorrow. So let me talk about why you should be camping then, or why I think you should give camping a go. For me, motorcycle travelling and camping have always gone hand in hand, and particularly if you're talking about adventure riding. Now, of course, it's difficult to really define what adventure riding is, but I think we'd all agree it's something along the lines of getting off the beaten track. And I'm going to say this is quite tough going here. We're certainly off the beaten track here. This is what puts the green lane into green lane, isn't it? Yeah, so adventure riding is... Oh, I think it's stuck. Adventure riding is about... oh, just have a breather. It's about getting off the beaten track, getting away, travelling the road less travelled. And you know, one of the advantages of camping is that you can, once you get out into those wild places, you can stay there, you can enjoy them more, enjoy them for longer, rather than then having to ride back into civilization, ride back into a town or a city and find a hotel. So for me, that's one of the big things. It's about being out there in those wide open wild spaces and staying there and really enjoying it. There's nothing quite like sitting and watching the sun go down outside your tent, and in the morning unzipping your tent and climbing out into that great outdoors. For me, it's what a big element, anyway, at least, of what puts adventure into adventure riding. Oh dear, looks like Brian's got himself stuck in rather a deep rut there. I don't know if it's a 4x4 or the farmer and his tractor, but they're very deep with these ruts here. I have to give him a hand. I guess something else I should mention is that there's a big cost element to this as well. Now, for some people, if they only get away for a week or 2 weeks each year, that cost element's not important. They can afford to stay in a hotel for a week, 2 weeks, but I'm constantly on the road. I spend maybe about 8 months of the year on the road, and I just could not afford to do that if I stayed in hotels. I mean, just some simple mathematics here. Let's say you went on a 2-week trip and you stayed in hotels or hostels or whatever, say an average of £100 a night. You know, for 2 weeks that's £1,400. Whereas if you camp at, so we say, £10 a night, and that's assuming you're not wild camping, which we are doing tonight, but you're actually staying on a campsite, so let's say an average of £10 a night. God, this is bad. This is rough. I remember it gets deep a bit further on. I'm going to just get over onto, if I can get over onto this left-hand side, because I remember down here, I think Brian's, looks like, oh, Brian's been trying to avoid it, looks like he's fallen in the ditch. It's quite, even though we're on little bikes, it's quite heavy going with the luggage on. Wouldn't like to do any of this kind of riding on a big bike. Definitely wouldn't. Anyway, yeah, so, you know, if you're camping compared to staying in a hotel, it's a fraction of the cost. You know my example there, 1/10 of that. Yeah, that's what we were avoiding going through that puddle. So, I say, if you only go for a week or 2 weeks, it doesn't really matter. But for me, it makes a huge difference. It just means I can stay on the road for much longer, spend much more time. He's going to get out of there. I can spend much more time on the road, which is a big issue for me. So yeah, from a cost point of view, you know, if we say that camping is, you know, so we say typically about 1/10 of the cost of staying in hotels, it means that I can spend 10 times as long on the road for the same cost. And it's not just accommodation cost, food cost is linked to that as well. If you think about it, when you are motorcycle touring, excuse me, this is pretty heavy going. When you're motorcycle touring, there are 3 big costs. There is the cost of your fuel for your motorcycle, there's the cost of your accommodation each night, and there's the cost of your food. Now, if you stay in a hotel, then you're likely to be eating in that hotel or eating at a restaurant down the road because you're going to be in civilization. Whereas if you camp and you camp right out in the middle of nowhere, what we typically do, and this is Brian in front of me here, what Brian and I tend to do is some point during the day we will stop at a supermarket, we will buy some food, and we'll get something that includes something to cook when we get to camp. So we've got our little gas stoves, and I'm just following Brian here. I'm trusting that he's choosing a decent line through this. Yeah, and so again, that just costs a fraction. I went on our trip last summer to Sweden. even though Sweden's not the cheapest country in the world, I was spending £10–15 a day only on food. That's for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You know, if we ate out lunch at a cafe or something, it would be a maximum of say £20–25 for the day for food. You know, and compare that to if you're staying in a hotel, you eat in the hotel, you eat in a restaurant, you're going to be spending £20–25, and then you're going to be having a few beers as well. You know, which in many places, particularly in hotels, are not cheap. So it all kind of adds up. So yeah, it just means you can do more travelling. But that's not my main reason. That, you know, that isn't just a valid point. The main reason for me is it's more about that sense of adventure. You know, camping is actually more adventurous. You're on more of an adventure when you're sleeping under canvas out in the wilds somewhere, or even when you're on a, you know, a campsite with facilities. Oh, damn, that was not easy going.
Well, this is a good start. We're just about to leave and Derek's bike won't start. He was the one who was laughing at Brian when we were showing the videos of Sweden trips, so this is payback for Brian. This is going on video because I seem to remember you were the one who was laughing at Brian.
That's the CCM battery I've got on it.
I'm sick of telling you, Derek. You should have bought a KTM.
So it should stop.
It's not a switch on your clutch. You've got to have your clutch in even if it's a new one.
No.
Yourself that as a car.
Derek, I noticed the CCMs both started fine this morning.
That was a miracle, but I mean, we're all surprised at that one.
Well, aren't you lucky, Derek, that
Why
we
would
happened
the
to bump
side
into this
stand
kind gentleman who not only was willing to help you, but he's actually a motorcycle mechanic as well.
Why would? Yeah, but a side stand switch, if you were a gear,
That'll only stop if it's in gear, won't it?
Well,
Won't let it start if it's in gear.
you won't let it start with it in gear, so it's out of gear. So it's not a side stand switch. Right? You see that box? That's right next to the fuses down there. What? The box? This? Yeah, that's the fuse box. You see the box to the other side of it? What? The one behind that. What? Yeah. So these were on.
Oh, he's running away. So I tried there, but just to
Right,
see about the
sure,
juice.
yeah. You have a click in there. What did you do? Just bridge it?
Well, I'm glad to say we got Derek's Husqvarna going. Not 100% sure what the problem was. He reckons he wired in a wiring for his GPS, and he thinks that it might be something to do with the way he's wired it in. So he's taken his GPS off, and it's working. Anyway, we're off again. So I was talking about you know, why I think you should camp, but I know I can hear the chorus of objections, you know, from people. Oh, there's no way I'm camping. It's cold. It's uncomfortable, and you know, I don't want to do that. Well, I would say that yes, there is inevitably a certain amount of discomfort when camping. It's not the same as staying in a hotel or a centrally heated room, a nice big comfortable bed and an ensuite bathroom and shower and everything. But you know, that's part of the adventure for me, is, you know, giving up some of those everyday luxuries of life and going back to basics, stripping things down to basics. And let's face it, it's only for a few days or a couple of weeks, and then you can return to your luxury. But the second thing I'd say to that is that camping doesn't have to be really uncomfortable. Not if you buy good quality gear. You know, if you're uncomfortable, if you don't get a good night's sleep, and that's the thing that upsets people. Oh, there's a river crossing coming on down here. Get across this. Yeah, if you don't get a good night's sleep, then buy yourself a better quality airbed. Buy yourself a warmer sleeping bag. These river crossings, unfortunately, are just so slippy at the moment. I don't know if you can see all the green. Just really, really slipping. You just need to lose the front end and you're a goner. Oh well, we're across. Because there's kind of, you know, you can see from here, there's like slabs of stone. Anyway, we're off. So, in my opinion, two things that are important for a comfortable night's sleep when you're camping are a good quality airbed and a good quality sleeping bag. And yes, you do have to invest a lot of money in those, but my argument is that a good airbed and a good sleeping bag will only cost you the same as a weekend in a hotel. And once you've got them, they last for ages. My sleeping bag and my airbed are both about 10 years old, still going strong, had many hundreds of nights use out of them. So it is a good investment. Oh, we've got a gate to open. So yeah, you do need to invest in a good sleeping system so that you are comfortable. And that makes a huge difference. And of course, you need a tent that is waterproof. But to be honest, most tents, that if you spend more than about 80-90 quid on a tent these days, it'll do the job. I mean, I have several tents, and I typically pay sort of 160 to 250 pounds for a tent. And again, that's, you know, only the price of a few nights in a hotel. And the two main tents that I use most often, one of them's over 20 years old and it's still going strong. So, you know, buy a good quality tent, buy good quality sleeping bag, or I actually use a sleeping quilt, which is just like half a sleeping bag that's spread over you, and a good quality airbed, and they will last you and keep you comfortable. So we've got Tosh in front here on his little 200cc bike with no luggage. He's finding it easy. We're all travelling with the luggage on. I have to say, I wouldn't want to be doing any of this on a bigger bike. We're all on 450s, apart from Derek. He's obviously 700. But there's two CCMs and my KTM, both 450s. Very lightweight bikes, and it's perfect for this kind of riding. Wouldn't want to be riding on this kind of stuff with all the luggage, camping gear on a big heavy bike. Just misery. I think it's my turn to get the gate. I'll ride through here and close the gate. Yet another treacherously slippy crossing. This is just a slab of sheer rock here, and you can probably see, if you can have a look. I don't know if you can see on the camera. I can see clearly. Just to my left, there's a ledge, and it drops off, and it gets really deep. So you've got to stay on this bit here. But it's just this shelf of very slippy rock. Decker there taking it nice and gently in front. You can see he's just struggling to get any traction with his back wheel there, but he's doing good, just nice and gently. It's the way to do it. Good morning so far. Enjoying the ride?
is.
Never mind the 10.
So a bit of an obstacle here, the fallen tree across the track, but we found a little diversion. So they've got this huge fallen tree, obviously no chance of moving it. But around where RJ's standing there, you just get up that gully around the side, just.
What you got? You gone for your...
Right Josh, let's show us how it's done mate. Oh, made it look easy. Look at that. I'd say that Josh is flying the flag to the CCM brigade there.
Well, at least one of them is. You're out in the element.
You're vulnerable because you haven't got like any sort of protection from the weather, you know. I had no food on us, I couldn't just leave the bike.
I mean, you could have pitched your tent.
Yeah, the thing though, Joshua, are you still in the RAC?
No.
Oh, well, that's a surprise.
Who are you now?
You know what it is? I've
Hire a van, come back, put it in and off you're gone.
I'll ride home, Joshua, and then drive the car clear to the other side of the country. When I was on the boat fishing and that, I said,
yeah.
Let's go on back, man.
Is he now going to be like,
I know. I said when I was making that video, I think I'm going to have to put subtitles under Brian. So when I posted the videos of us riding in Sweden and poor Brian having problems with his bike, the first person to laugh was Decker here. So what have you got to say to Brian, to Brian after your bike?
Okay, I've got to eat a little bit of humble pie.
I think you have, yeah. Anyway, we got going, didn't we? And another very interesting river crossing. We've done quite a few today, but it's these ones with the pebbly bottom that are the tricky ones because they're all just so slippy at the moment. So you can see with this one, to get across, you've got to firstly, you're sort of riding an L shape. Firstly, we've got to ride down this bank and then cut across, and that way there's just that one little deep bit just there towards the end to go through. I'll let him get through the deep bit before I make a go of it. Say that this river crossing is just evil. It is just so unbelievably slippy. You can see the lads just can't get any traction at all. It's stony at the bottom here, and the stones are all just covered in green slime. It's just so hard, and you know, your front wheel just keeps hitting the big stones and stopping the bike, so you just can't get any momentum going. Really is the most evil of river crossings. The only saving grace is it's not too deep, as you can see. It's probably only about a foot deep as you go across. Probably if it were a bit deeper, or if it were moving a little bit faster, that would, you know, keep the bottom a bit clearer. Anyway, here goes for nothing. Okay, so we've had quite a good ride today. I hope you've enjoyed riding along with us. So, in amongst all the other things, been talking about why I think that you should try camping if you've not tried it before. So let me ask, have I persuaded you? Have I convinced you? Please yeah, put your comments below. And like I said, if the answer is no, then it's no big deal, it's no loss. And if you just want to stay in hotels or B&B, that's absolutely fine, no problem with me. But it's a lot of fun. Okay, we're nearly at our spot where we're camping, so I'm going to wrap it up today. Thanks a lot for watching. Ride safe. Hopefully see you again soon. Bye.